And joining us on the line, great to welcome to Flow from Chocolate Starfish, we've got Adam Thompson. G'day, Adam. How you doing today?
Doing really well, and great to be chatting as always.
It's great. It's great to be hearing you back because I sort of thought, well, you've gone and you're doing all these other things, but now the fish are back.
Yeah, the fish are back in a really good way. So it's it's been great for us to be able to put out this new album, The Beautiful Addiction, and obviously we had our first single, which was our version of What's Up, the Four Non-Blondes song, and now our second single, Three Words.
You seem to love doing cover versions, and you do them pretty good. So I guess I understand that, but why is it a thing within the band that you like to do covers, and is that always been that way, and not so much original? I'm just sort of trying to work that out because, I mean, I don't have an issue with it. I think some bands do it really well, but some of them, sometimes I hear when a band's doing a version, I go, oh, please no. And
yeah, look, it's a terrific question, mate. And I think for us, it's always been a bit of a hallmark of what we do. You know, even though like most bands, we were lucky that we had. You're So Vain as one of our first singles, and I guess that's, as a cover song from Carly Simon, it heralded us along with Mountain and Four Letter Word in that first album. But it's funny, we write hundreds of songs, but because of familiarity, when you do something like a cover well, and as you just pointed out, not a bad version of, you almost own it. You own the space, and so, I'm certainly not saying we own the Four Non-Blondes song, because that original version of them was great, but a bit like that in with You're So Vain as well as What's Up, we put our own stamp on it, and I think that's what our fans really enjoy, is that we don't just do something verbatim. We change it up. We starfishify it, and then it sort of then has a place along with all our other songs that we write.
Well, familiarising myself with you guys, and I was listening to Your So Vain the other day, and for me, I mean, it's sort of 25 odd years, but it still stands up. It hasn't sort of felt like it's a version that's dated and that's sort of now gone a bit mouldy. It's still there. So a credit to you for picking a song and doing it so well.
Oh, thank you. And there were other cover songs around that period too, because radio was some would suggest it still is quite conservative, but it was very conservative. It was just before Triple J rose its head, and there are other cover versions of other songs around that time, but not many of them have stood the test of time like You're So Vain has. And I think, again, that's because we took risks, and we tend to do that with our own songs as well. We sort of do things our own way, and even as a band, as a performance entity, we certainly don't follow a formula. And there's some pluses and some minuses to that. The pluses are you stand out. The minuses are there's no other band that wants to do a double bill with you because there's no one else like the Starfish. So that becomes problematic in its own right. But I'd rather live and die by the sword than try and bend the sword every time we've got a different fight on our hands.
I think that they call that artistic integrity, and I think it's a wonderful thing, and we need to see a bit more of it.
Yeah, well, I just think it's something that we made a decision of. Like, even when we had our separation for 10 years or more, I was pretty clear when I came back that I didn't just want to only do the old songs from the 90s. I said, I still want to create new music, I still want to make new albums, I still want to even forge ahead stylistically when we perform. And that's everything between what we say now is blokes in their 50s versus, in our 20s. It's what you wear. It's the show you put on. So I was, quite clear with the band that that's what I wanted. And then, eventually everyone came around and said, yeah, you know what? I reckon you're right. There's enough black T-shirt, black jean wearing bands out there. Let's mix it up.
Some of the old stage gear, can you still get into it?
Look, I'm certainly a bigger guy now than I was. But not probably not, but that's sort of okay in a way, because I actually think that the stuff that I'm wearing now is better. So,
It's all right. I understand
I
us
like
guys in the
stuff I'm wearing
50s,
these
in our
days.
50s now. I understand. And, some of those things don't fit us anymore. It's all good. It's all good. But yeah,
Well, it was also back then. I didn't, Okay, great
yeah,
example is, I go to the gym every day now and I lift weights, so I didn't do
yeah,
that back in then. So it's not even necessarily weight gain. It's just even size because you're
yeah,
now looking after yourself rather than just being a wiry, non-eating, drinking
yeah.
20-something-year-old, which is, like most 20-year-old bands.
Yeah, exactly right. Adam, I just want to ask you, on your website, which is chocolatestarfish.com.au, folks, you've got the album series, and one of the album series was Bad Out of Hell. So I
Yep.
just wanted to get your thoughts on the recent passing of Meatloaf.
Yeah, look, I did a post about that, and I'd had quite a bit to do with him on and off in the 90s because we were in the same label. We were both on EMI Virgin together, and I remember two things, one of which was that was my first album that I bought, so it was the one that inspired me to mould theatrics with rock and roll. So it inspired me as a 14-year-old kid. And then fast forward, about 15 years, and I was backstage with him on Hamilton Island singing 2 Out of 3 Ain't Bad before he went on. And then literally the next year, it was Meat's 50th. I'm seeing him in Melbourne at Rod Laver, and I'm just chatting to him, and all of a sudden his band calls everyone into a circle to celebrate his 50th. And I'm right by his side, and I've got my arm around him, he's got his arm around me, and I'm thinking, man, if you could have scripted that as a 14-year-old kid jumping off your couch to Batter to Hell, being a little upstart in the country, you couldn't have scripted it any better. So it certainly has affected me more than, because that's my musical hero, that voice and that album. But there's going to be a pretty big announcement from the Starfish next week on that, so I can't say too much other than look out, because we do that album pretty well.
You mentioned the theatrics that appealed to you. Why is it there doesn't seem to be a lot of that sort of style of theatrical rock and roll anymore? Because I loved it growing up, and you've also done Queen, they did their theatrics as well. But it just seems to be like everyone's got to stick to a formula, and anything outside of that formula, no one wants to know. But I miss, because Springsteen pioneered a lot of that as well. So I miss that theatrics.
Not to mention Kiss. I mean, Kiss were the masters at it as well.
Yeah.
Bowie. I mean, Bowie was, all about theatrics and changing style. So, okay, so I think for me personally, if I can answer that question, it is that there's a narrow band now of possibility, and that band is Spotify and online, and you are literally up with you're up against thousands of other releases weekly, and so you would think that would be a great reason to to be different and to be theatrical, but that also requires experimentation, and we were touching on this just before we started rolling the record button today. And, being out in the live sector means that, which we were lucky enough in the 90s, and bands before that had that luxury of being able to play, their 10,000 hours of proficiency, and that enabled you to experiment. A lot of young crew today don't have that luxury, so their only medium for experimentation is the internet, and that's hard to get instant feedback that a show afforded you. So, I think for the bands that really push the envelope today, I applaud them, because their platform to do that is narrow nowadays, and they can easily get lost if they don't have all their ducks lined up.
Yeah, I understand what you mean there, and I just feel sad about it. I'd like to see some more of it, but I understand it. It's the world, and I don't necessarily agree with everything that Spotify does either. So I think
no, and certainly nor do I. But that's why I think we as artists have to keep taking risks, and not every band is prepared to do that. It takes guts to take risks on every aspect of your career, and even to see yourself as a career artist. That's another whole conversation that reality TV has promoted this instant fame thing, and that to go into something as a career artist, someone like Joe Camilleri, Joe's, a bit of an idol of mine too, not stylistically, but just for integrity of sticking at it. He's just released his 50th album, and that's, he's just in it as a career, and that's something that I'm so in awe of, and hope that in 43 more albums time I can be up with him.
Well, you better get onto it.
I better get onto it, exactly. One a year, and I might get him in before I pass away.
Well, your new album, it's called The Beautiful Addiction, and we can get details by going to your website, chocolatestarfish.com.au. And the song, the new single from it is a song called 3 Words. And you talk about 3 words in the song, but you don't specifically say 3 words. So I'm assuming the words could be, say, I love you, but could they also be, are you okay?
Yeah, they could be all those things, or let me see, or it could be get off me, or something. It could be so many things. I'm brainstorming as I go.
Yeah.
So, you caught me on the hop. But honestly, it is about that. But what I really like about this song, this song has been around for 20 years. It had about 4 different co-writes. Yeah. Zoran and I, our old guitarist who passed away, started this back in 2000, and then it had a rewrite with Phil Collen from Def Leppard, who introduced a bit which I really liked, but I still didn't think it was right. And then I added a call and answer part, which then became the chorus. And I like that situationally it almost tells you that it could be any one of those things. So 3 words, in the heat of the moment, in the howl of the moon. It feels like summer when it's whispered to you. In the light of forgiveness, I am sorry, there's another one. A forever vow, which is I love you or I do. Situationally it could be so many things. But to me, it's more about not closing it off, and being vulnerable enough to say what you feel in life. And I think that's something that that growing old has afforded me, that ability to be vulnerable and say truly what I feel these days without fear of reprise or judgment.
I think we're made to feel afraid to be vulnerable when actually we shouldn't be made to feel that way. And I just found growing up, I know what you mean, growing up, any kind of vulnerability was, you couldn't show it, you couldn't admit to it. Mm. And nowadays we're sort of realising that we should have been talking about it.
That's right, yeah, and it causes so many, so many people die. Talk about dying with the music left in them, but they also often die without saying to someone, how much they care. And that's why songs and movies like Mike and the Mechanics, Say It Loud, Say It Clear. That's why that sort of song hits you in the heart, because you realise that there are people that have passed on that you just haven't told them what you feel. And it's like, and even, one of my favourite movies of all time, which was Field of Dreams, when Costner gets the chance to play ball and talk with his dad, who passed away. God, it just gets me every single time, because it's something we can never get back again, and we need to do it while we're here.
Absolutely, yeah. It's one of my favourite films too. I love that film. And yes. Tell me about the video clip for your song. Was this a COVID kind of style video? Because it's just you guys and nothing else.
Yeah, it was. Darren, our drummer, had a great idea of doing it in Bakehouse, which is our rehearsal room we do in Melbourne, and it's a great space. And we were going to just do it as a performance video, which is probably how you perceive it right now. But now that I'm going to tell you to watch it again, because if you look at the clip, I'm actually singing the words to all the band members, but they don't hear me, right?
Yep.
And I don't know if you're familiar with the 5 love languages, and one of those is words of affirmation. But that's not everyone's love language. Sometimes physical touch is another love language that people respond to. So halfway through the film clip, there's a spot where I'm literally in their face, I'm singing to them, and they're not paying any attention. But as soon as I touch them, even lightly, they hear me, they feel me. And it just shows with the 3 words.
Yeah.
Sometimes people need to hear it in a different way. Sometimes it's not just words. Sometimes it's physical touch. Sometimes it's there's a thing that my wife and I have called acts of service, and that's what another love language is, where people respond to you doing a deed for them. So every time I do the dishes, I say, "Look, honey, I'm doing an act of service. That's got to be love." And she goes, "No, that's your right. I cook the dinner, you do the dishes." So anyway.
And my wife just tells me it's your job, get it done. So
Exactly.
Yeah. I keep saying we could buy a dishwasher, and she goes, "Why? You do a better job." And
so that's the film. Yeah. So now, listeners, go and watch the 3 words film clip, and you'll see. And the guys did a great job of acting. I'm literally singing in their face, and I've got this no expression, no reaction. So it's good.
I'm just seeing you now touching your keyboard player, and he's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?"
Exactly.
Yes, and that. So it's a good clip. We can check that out on YouTube, folks, for the single 3 words. So what's happening next with the fish? What's the plans? You said something big coming up, but you can't really tell us the details of, which I'm very curious about. But what else is going on for the rest of this year?
So for the rest of the year, we will be doing a Beautiful Addiction tour from around May onwards. We're just placing that together now, but again, the virus pandemic has given consumer confidence a bit of a kick in the teeth. So we wanted to wait until we announced that album until everything was really open up and people could feel that was the case. But we've got lots of festivals that we're part of. We're part of the Big Red Bash. We're part of By the Sea. We just did One Electric Day in Melbourne just last weekend, just gone. So there's lots of those big festivals that we're part of. It's just a matter of, fingers crossed that they all go ahead, as well as our own shows, which, they're all on our webpage, guys. So jump onto our webpage or onto Facebook, and you'll see all the events. And like all the bands out there in Australia, we're just cautiously opening them up. But without you coming along to see us, we're only half a band, so you complete me.
From another movie too.
Exactly.
Adam, is there a cover song that you want to do, but the band won't let you?
Wow.
Come on, tell me.
What a great question. Okay, so this is one I'm going to tell you, mate, and I haven't even told the band yet. It's actually... because funnily enough, if you look at the first song, first cover, You're So Vain, was Carly Simon's, a female. Then Linda Perry from Four Non Blondes, also a female. I want to do a whole album of female vocals, and I want to entitle it "Let Me Be a Man."
Oh, okay.
And so, and I want it to have, things like, but from all different genres. I want to be able to do Helen Reddy's Iron Woman. I want to be able to do Aretha Franklin. I want to be able to do Stand By Your Man, Patsy Cline. So all these really bizarre things that people go, wow, I never would have imagined, but only the Chocolate Starfish. So so stay tuned on that one. No particular song, but that's my style, that I want to do a covers album one day that is all from female artists or writers.
Brilliant idea. I think you should do Pash by Kate Ceberano.
Or even I Kissed a Girl and I Liked It by Katy Perry.
That would work.
That would work as well.
Oh, what a brilliant idea. I love it. I absolutely love it. And after you do that album, just think it's only, 42 to go to catch up to Joe.
It's only 42 to go, exactly. So if Joe Camilleri is listening to this interview, Joe, I'm going to get you there.
Adam, it has been fantastic chatting to you. Thank you so much for spending time with us today on Flow. We've got the song. It's ready to go for all the Flow listeners. If you could please introduce it for us, and thank you once again for spending time with us today.
It's my pleasure. This is Adam Thompson from the Chocolate Starfish, and you're listening to Flow FM. This is our new single, 3 words.
I wonder how I got this feeling and imagine Just gotta tell you now, there'll be no more single sunsets. We hold each other with these hands of time. Speak of happy ever afters. They're all wrapped up in these words of mine. 'Cause in you I found three words that make the sweetest sound. Three words I've gotta tell you now. Yesterday my eyes were open. Now I'm counting down the moments. I wonder how I got this feeling, and imagine that you feel it too. 'Cause in you I found three words that make the sweetest sound. Three words I gotta tell you now. In the heat of the moment, in the howl at the moon, it feels like summer when it's whispered to you. In the light of forgiveness, a forever vow. Just gotta tell you now. Three words that make the sweetest sound. Three words. Just gotta tell you. Just gotta tell you now.